Hi, my name is Craig Langemeier, and I'm the Senior Director of Ministries out here at Pine Cove. I've been here since 1995, and I served 10 years as our Ranch Camp Director and 7 years as our Woods Family Camp Director. I have 5 kids of my own, and so I know how important it is to send your kids to the safest possible environment. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video. I hope it gives you some insight into the safety culture that we've established out here at Pine Cove. Pine Cove exists to be used by God to transform the lives of people for His purposes and for His glory. Since 1967, people have been trusting Pine Cove with their camp experience. And we want to talk about 3 main areas of safety: physical safety, emotional safety, and spiritual safety of our campers. And you may be asking, how does Pine Cove maintain a safety environment? Well, we've realized there's no silver bullet. We take more of a shotgun approach. And over 10 years ago, we contacted a company called Presidium. They are industry leaders in abuse risk management, and they've helped us come up with what we call our safety equation. First part of our safety equation is selection and screening. Now, we know there's folks out there who may want to work with kids for the wrong reasons, and we want to make sure that we can identify those folks and make sure that they are not at camp. As we sit down to interview these college students, we want to make sure that we are thorough and diligent. So we spend about 45 minutes face-to-face with them. We talk about what's going on in their life spiritually, what's happening socially, and what their skills and talents are. We also ask some very specific questions that are personal and tough to answer. We ask them, have you ever abused or sexually molested a child? Now, you'd be surprised there are some folks who actually say yes to that. But what we're really looking for are some deceptive responses that folks are maybe trying to steer us in a different direction. Presidium met with us years ago, and they coached us through what that would look like if someone was trying to slip through the cracks in an interview. Many people ask, do you guys do background checks? Absolutely we do. It's part of our selection and screening process. We do a background check on every single employee, both our full-time staff and our summer staff, every single summer. One of the interesting things, though, is that only 3% of those who abuse kids actually have a criminal record. So this is only part of what we do to help keep a safe environment at Pine Cove. Now, we spent an additional $23,000 this year on an even more thorough and deeper background check. In addition to all this, we do references on each applicant. We have to have a minimum of 2 to as many as 5 references for each applicant. They're filled out electronically, so they don't go through the hands of the person who's applying to work at camp. In addition to checking and reading all of these thoroughly, we also will call random sampling of those folks to ensure that they actually were the person that filled out the reference. The second part of our safety equation is training. We have our staff come in 2 weeks before the campers actually arrive, and they get trained in a wide variety of things, from their activity classes to their Bible studies. If they're going to be a boat driver, they get trained on how to drive a boat. All the folks that are running our ropes courses will be trained on our high ropes elements. You need to know if your child is going to be at a water activity, they will have a certified lifeguard on duty at all times. If they're going to be on one of our ropes courses, those ropes courses have been inspected by an outside agency. Those staff have been trained thoroughly by Pine Cove, and then that same agency will actually come in and certify that our trainers have done a great job. We want to make sure that these staff are trained well. We bring them all 1,300 into Cowan Auditorium at UT Tyler campus, and we meet together and we talk about our mission and we talk about our safety culture. We want to ensure that every one of them knows that Pine Cove is serious about our mission and that we have an unquestioned safety culture. The third part of our safety equation is supervision and monitoring. As we learned from Presidium, 85% of the time when there is abuse in a camp setting, it's camper to camper. So we've put together a monitoring plan that helps us monitor 1 level down and 2 levels up. Watch now as we train our staff what this looks like in the camp environment during our orientation. I want you to do this. Below that green box, I want you to write this. I want you to write 1 level down, 2 levels up. This is how we do our monitoring procedures here at Pine Cove. Every staff member is responsible for this. You're responsible to monitor 1 level down. So for counselors, that's the campers in your cabin. For senior counselors, that is your counselor group that's under your care. And then for 2 levels up, so for a counselor, you're monitoring your senior counselor and your program director. Program director. You're monitoring the associate director and the director. And I want all of you, and I want you to all look up at me right now. I want all of you to keep your eyes on me this summer. I want you, and Mario, I talked to him as well. He invites your eyes on him because we want to be monitoring everyone here at Pine Cove. As I mentioned, that number 7 scares me to death. The idea of someone being abused and then accusing someone who didn't do the abuse just to get the word out. So we monitor, 1, to protect the children from abuse that would happen on our guard or on our watch. And secondly, we want to protect us from allegations that would be done falsely against us. We want to monitor everywhere. We do this throughout the camp. We have a thorough, detailed, and documented monitoring plan. You actually, in your Pine Cove Way, there's a map, I think, in each one of your Pine Cove Ways that go through the different places that we monitor, how we monitor, where we're monitoring. You don't know when we're going to be there. It is unpredictable and random, but it is thorough, detailed, and documented. This is for our protection and for the protection of the campers both. We check buildings and trails. We check night games, remote parts of camp. We want to protect campers from other campers. We want to protect campers from staff. And we want to protect us from false allegations that campers may have. Another thing we learned from Presidium is that 7% of the time when a child is abused, they will falsely accuse someone just to get the information out. We talk about that number 7 and how that impacts us in the camp environment. Watch now as we talk to our staff during orientation. Y'all, as usual, all rules that apply to campers apply to staff, and these rules are in place for your protection. You read this here. Did you know that around 5% of the abuse allegations are falsely made against a person who is close to the child just so that the abuse becomes public? Did you hear that? The number we've had in the past is, we called this group Presidium, who's helped us as we are preparing and training for abuse prevention. They said it's around 5%. The numbers that we have seen from them in the past is the number 7, and we're going to get into that here in a little bit. But you know, what happens is this. People will report someone falsely abusing them just to get the word out that they're being abused. Because of that, we want to really keep our eyes trained in every aspect. And you're going to find out as we go through our monitoring plan and we talk about our safety equation, what this really means. The next part of supervision and monitoring are random checks. And these are documented, detailed, unpredictable checks of all of our camps and facilities. We want to make sure that there's nothing inappropriate going on at our camps. We also want to let our staff know that they're being watched. We know there are folks who want to be at camp for the wrong reasons or have bad motives. So we want to let them know that we know those kind of folks are out there. Watch now as we talk to our staff during orientation about how serious we are about protecting these kids. I want you to know that Pine Cove is going to promise you something. And that is, if you abuse a kid on our watch, we will prosecute you to the fullest extent of the law. That's a promise from myself, from Mario, and from the board of directors. We will not put up with any abuse at this camp. So if you have bad intentions, I want you to know right now, you'll be free to go right now. You can talk to your director, find a way to get out, whatever it looks like for you to leave, but you will not harm a child on our watch. The fourth aspect of our safety equation are internal feedback systems. Now, we know kids who are abused sometimes fail to report that abuse for a number of reasons. 1, they're afraid someone won't take it seriously. Number 2, they're afraid it'll get blown out of proportion. Or number 3, they're afraid of confidentiality. So with these concerns in mind, we came up with what we call a talk box, which is a locked box that kids can put a slip of paper in, and they may have an idea for a theme night or for an activity class that they would like to do, or maybe it's a concern about something that's going on at camp. We check these boxes every single day to help monitor and know what's going on inside a camp and deal with any concerns that the campers may have. Final aspect of our safety equation is consumer awareness. If you go to our website in the safety section, you'll find a number of videos and documents that help outline our commitment to having a safety culture here at Pine Cove. You'll notice that there is a safety policies and procedures PDF there, as well as a PDF of Presidium's safety ratings for Pine Cove. They've thoroughly examined our camps, our policies and procedures, and given us their highest rating. Discipleship doesn't end when your kid leaves camp. We firmly believe that, and we tell our staff that. We want them involved with the campers throughout the year. However, we want to make sure that happens within the boundaries and the confines of what's appropriate. So, we tell our staff you can't go uninvited into a camper's home. So if you want your camper involved with their counselor throughout the year, that needs to be a personal invitation from you. As a father of 5, I take safety very seriously. And I hope as you've watched these videos and if you have checked out our policies and procedures, that you've recognized that Pine Cove desires to be a transparent place with an excellent safety culture in regards to your child's physical, emotional, and spiritual well-being.